My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. Sometimes we have to break out of a kind of spell that can be set over us. Perhaps you've seen or you've read the book The Lord of the Rings, made into the famous movie. There is a character in the book, specifically I think in the second book, named King Theoden. He is the king of Rohan, a kingdom of horsemen. And Theoden, unfortunately, falls under the spell of a man named Wormtongue, who with his words and his deception basically convinces Theoden to do nothing, to become totally passive and inactive, and to let his kingdom fall into disrepair, to fall into neglect. And the image is very striking. You see Theoden there sitting on his throne, and he almost looks like he's dead. He looks very tired, wrinkled, all disheveled. And next to him is Wormtongue, this ugly little creature who's constantly whispering pessimistic news into the ears of Theoden, making him more depressed and falling more into despair, more into a kind of stupor. And so Gandalf, one of the great heroes of the book, comes at some point and sees that Theoden is under this spell, and so he yells at Theoden to get up. And in fact, he breaks the spell. He uses his power to kind of rip apart this cocoon in which Theoden has wrapped himself. And before our eyes, we see Theoden return to his youth, to his strength, and Wormtongue is banished from the kingdom. Theoden gets up, right? He gets up and he breaks out of his stupor. That image of King Theoden under a spell is similar to a story that I heard about a father of a family, a father with several children, a loving wife, who had fallen into this deep laziness. This dad would just hang out on the couch watching TV every night, neglecting his kids, neglecting his wife. And this went on for a while, and the dad got fatter, the dad got more selfish, he even lost some of his charm with his own wife. He kind of was in a sorry state. And he began to realize, this is not the man I'm meant to be. And so finally, they kind of hit a climax when he's there another night, sitting before the television, watching sports, and his wife from the kitchen is there, trying to deal with all the kids, putting the kids to bed. And so she gently makes a plea to him, "Honey, help me out." And this is like a special grace from God, because it reaches right into the heart of this husband, and he realizes he needs to change. So in that moment, when he hears her say, "Honey, help me out," he jumps up from the couch, grabs the TV, and throws it out the window. Right? He literally destroys the Wormtongue, right? That person or that instrument that is keeping him down, right? The television. He throws the television away. He gets up and he changes. In today's gospel, we see the vocation of St. Matthew. We see that moment in which Levi, the tax collector, whose life is very comfortable, who lives and works in the treasury, surrounded by money, surrounded by comfort, surrounded by power. His life is invaded by the presence of Jesus Christ. After this, Jesus went out and saw a tax collector named Levi sitting at the tax booth. And Jesus said to him, "Follow me." And Matthew got up, left everything, and followed him. Now, this is a very simple narrative. Matthew is telling this himself from his own memories, and he couldn't explain it in a simpler way. But we have to imagine that Matthew must have received a special grace, but that he also would have struggled in some sense to say yes, to get up and follow the Master. This was a life-changing decision. And just as Theoden gets up from his throne in this violent release, as it were, of his captivity, just as that husband gets up off the couch and throws the TV out the window, so we see Matthew get up from that table of coins, tax receipts. We can imagine him pushing the table away, walking away from all of that, and joining Jesus Christ, giving his life over to our Lord. Perhaps you've seen that beautiful painting by Caravaggio, The Calling of Matthew. It's a painting that is in Rome, in the church of San Luigi Franceschi, very close to Piazza Navona, to the Pantheon. I highly recommend visiting that church now that we can travel again. San Luigi Franceschi has this painting of The Calling of Matthew, and it's a stunning painting. This is from one author describing the scene. Caravaggio's masterpiece captures the birth of a vocation and an encounter between God and man. It reveals a dramatic moment in which two persons meet and two separate worlds converge. Matthew, absorbed in his world of money and friends, is caught off guard. A ray of light illuminates the features of his surprised face. He points toward himself, as if to inquire if he is really the one being addressed by Christ, like saying, "Who, me?" The men in the left of the painting are a reminder of Matthew's past and of his possible future. They are hunched over their coins, completely oblivious to Christ. There's 3 tax collectors there counting their money, obsessed with their wealth. Their opportunity for a new, more meaningful life fades away as they continue counting their silver. If Matthew does not respond to Christ, he will remain a sad miser like them. On the right of the painting, Jesus and Peter stand in stark contrast to Matthew and his companions. Their bare feet and their simple clothing clash with the flamboyant colors of the tax collector's fashionable 17th century attire, like the $1,000 business suits of today. Peter's walking staff indicates their itinerant status. They are always on the move, with no place to lay their heads. If Matthew follows Christ, it will not be easy. He will have to leave behind his luxurious lifestyle, his stable income, and even the benefit of proper footwear, if he's going to be counted among the followers of this poor yet captivating man. Matthew is presented with a choice, in much the same way that Theoden is presented with a choice, that young husband is presented with a choice. Does he remain in his comfortable life? Does he remain in the cocoon of his own pleasure? Or does he break out? Does he release his life from that captivity to the freedom of Jesus Christ, to the adventure of our Lord? This is what vocation is all about. We too need to wake up. We need to push that table away, stand up, and walk towards Jesus. We need to get up and get after it. Our life is an adventure, and we need to be attentive to those moments in which we can fall into a spell, in which we can become too self-absorbed, in which we lose sight of our vocation. Jesus is inviting each one of us, by nature of our baptism, to correspond fully to his call. How are we doing this? How can we do this better? We can ask Our Lady, who also responded fully to the call when the angel Gabriel appeared to her, that she give us this same readiness to respond wholeheartedly to our vocation. She got up right away. As soon as the angel explained to her her mission, she gets up and she rushes out to see her cousin Elizabeth, to bring her the good news. We too want to have this same readiness to get up and get after it. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help in putting them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.